How's everybody doing? Good? Okay, so are we all on Facebook, or do we at least know what it is? Yeah? Yeah? No?
Wait, are we all on Facebook?
Yeah. Are you on Facebook?
I have a Facebook page, but I don't do it.
Do you know what it is? You know how it works?
I know what Facebook is.
Yeah? Okay. Okay, so today I'm going to be talking about Instagram. Instagram is basically Facebook with pictures only. So instead of having a friend of friend, it is follow based. So what that means is if you want to follow me, you can. But I don't have to necessarily accept a friend request. Does that make sense? Okay, so we've all heard things like BRB, TTYL, CYL, maybe, like the text lingo of my age group. Well, communication is changing and it's shifting from words to pictures, especially among millennials. So millennials really like to see pictures. They like to be told by being shown. Does that make sense? So this morning, let's see, is this the clicker? Okay, so who uses Instagram? The question, yeah, you're on it?
I'm on it right now.
Okay, is anybody else on it? No? You are? Okay, well today we're going to be talking about how to use it for business. So Instagram is an app, it is a social media app, and people who prefer Instagram are millennials, and millennials is the 18 to 34 age group. So you can see that we have 75% of millennials on Facebook. So Facebook is the preferred social media. So if you're using social media for your business, then you definitely need to be on Facebook to reach the most millennials. However, we've already got 43.1% of them on Instagram, followed by 32.9% on Snapchat. Instagram and Snapchat are picture-based, whereas Facebook is more text-based. So that is really where you can see the shift with millennials preferring pictures over words. So here's what gets interesting. If you look at the demographic that shifts downward to 12 to 24, which is really the low end of millennials, we have, and you can actually see if you look right here, Instagram is the #1 preferred social media among that demographic. So as you get younger, Instagram gets more popular. Actually, when we were at Rhythm and Roots, we did the social media for that music festival. Y'all heard of it? And we had these social media signs. And basically what it was is it looked like a giant Facebook post or a giant Instagram post. And what you could do is you could stand behind it and take your picture and it looked like you were on Instagram or Facebook. And every single child, I say children, teenagers that were walking around, not one of them wanted the Facebook one. Every single one of them picked Instagram. So like among our team, we were like, oh, I want the Instagram one because that's the one that the kids were picking. Now, if you go to like if you go to the generation older, they wanted Facebook. But the younger generation is on Instagram. So how do you market to them? That's the question. Okay, let's actually first talk about who millennials are. So millennials are 18 to 32. They are 25% of the American population. So if you are not marketing to millennials, then you're missing 1/4 of Americans. It's really important that even if your business doesn't necessarily apply directly to millennials, that you're at least touching base with them on some kind of level. Because the thing to remember about millennials is they grow up. So one day they will be in your demographic. Does that make sense? So,
I'm sorry, did you say 18 to 32?
Yeah, it's kind of loose. You can kind of get away with like 18 to 28, 18 to 32, 18 to 34.
32-year-olds are getting there.
So it is a really wide demographic, especially when you compare like the taste of 32-year-olds to like say 18-year-olds. They're in different stages of life, but we tend to lump them into this one category when it comes to marketing. But that's why I wanted to look at the downward shift when it came to what social media they prefer because they are very different and it does change. But as far as the information that we have on that group as a whole, I can tell you a little bit about them. So they want brands to entertain them, and that is what I want to focus on because, and I actually have all of the research behind this on my paper here if y'all want to see it, but loosely, millennials, they're not going to engage with a brand that they don't feel intrigued by. So that's why brands like Starbucks, it's one of the most popular millennial brands. Like you can see that this is not promoting their drinks. Yeah? You can see that like they've got the eclectic green tea. They've got the person who studies. They've got their new red cup, which it's gained a lot of controversy lately, but this post was prior to that, really like coming a problem. They've got their Halloween post where they had their Halloween special. So they're not really promoting themselves, but they're entertaining their audience. And that's what makes Instagram different. Because Facebook, you can get away with advertisements and specials. Yeah?
So on their, so like the Halloween post, for example, would they have just the picture or would they say, you know, like Halloween special?
So their picture, and actually, let me pull up their caption. Give me just 1 second and I will read it to you. I'm going to have to log in. Actually, I don't care. Okay, basically, the idea is that you have the picture that gets their attention and the caption just kind of supplements it. But the caption isn't the focus. Does that make sense? Yeah. Okay, so let me go to Starbucks Instagram and I'll read you their caption. Okay, it said, sink your fangs into Frappula Frappuccino before the clock strikes midnight on October 31st, and the darkness reclaims it as its own once more. Clever, right? Entertaining, catchy, got a snicker from I think almost all of us. So that's the point. They didn't say, here's our Halloween drink. It was clever and catchy and punny. Okay, so going back to who millennials are, they have this awful reputation as being the self-centered generation. And whether I like to admit it or not, it's actually fairly true. Because they don't really care about things like what your brand, what your core values are, unless it relates directly to them. So like, for instance, Starbucks, their mission may be to provide a happy environment for people to socialize. But millennials only care about what they can get out of it. And it sounds awful, but it's really key when it comes to marketing to millennials because that's going to change your message. Yeah? So, okay, so let's look at some ways to appeal. Actually, first, I'm going to talk about this, the way that they've set this up. So, for those of us not familiar with Instagram, this is their page. So, if you have a Facebook profile, it's your Facebook profile, but it's your Instagram profile, yeah? If you'll notice, this is actually the timeline. So, it's only pictures. You don't see statuses, you don't see, where they've checked in at, you only see pictures. And that's going to be the same whether you're business, personal, it doesn't matter. All Instagram accounts will look like this. So you've got your profile picture, you've got how many posts you have, your followers, and who you're following. Now look at their name. So this is the official Starbucks account. And it's Starbucks Coffee, and there's a little coffee cup emoji. Seems unprofessional, right? To have an emoji in your name. The thing is, millennials love that. They love the connection that emojis bring to a brand and the connection that emojis bring to themselves. Actually, most of my friends on any social media have at least one emoji beside their name because that's like something that they identify with. And if you're not really familiar with emojis, basically it's a keyboard that you download that is, instead of text, it's pictures. So you've got the little smiley faces, the little hearts. So Starbucks has chosen a coffee cup. It fits. their bio. So your bio is really important on Instagram because that's going to be, millennials will make up their mind if they're going to follow you by, first of all, if they like what they're seeing as far as posts go. Second of all, this is like your one chance to say, here's who I am, listen. You've only got 150 characters to do it. So they have inspiring and nurturing the human spirit, one person, one cup, and one neighborhood at a time. That captures the Starbucks brand in that one sentence. Being effective and simple is key for your Instagram bio. Because if you start getting into really wordy, you're going to run out of characters. Or if you start giving unnecessary information, like they don't say, we're a coffee company with expensive coffee that's trendy and fantastic, inspiring and nurturing the human spirit, because that's what they want to do. So that's their bio. Now, this is the only place that you can put a clickable link. So if you have a website, your bio is the only place that you can show that website. So when people go to your page, they can get to your website by clicking on a post. Like if you look at an Instagram post, you cannot click anything except a hashtag. So if I want to put my Facebook profile right here, it's got to be right there for people to click on it. This is key when it comes to linking back to your website, because you've got to pick the one place that you want to drive all of your traffic to. So a lot of times, like I follow fashion bloggers. They're entertaining, they've got cute stuff, so I think it's fun to follow. Well, what they do is, let's pretend that this is a fashion blogger's page. She will post, new scarf, absolutely love it, cozy, whatever she puts with it. Then she says, click my link in my bio. So you then go to her page, and that's the only place that you can click to go to her bio. And what she does is she links it. She constantly changes this to go to her most recent blog post. So if her most recent blog post is talking about the scarf, she links it back to that specific blog post. If she has a new Instagram post, she changes that link to her most recent post. Does that make sense? So if you're blogging a lot for your company, then changing this bio or changing this link in your bio is a good idea, because you can post, hey, new blog. Click our link in our bio. And then people know to follow your link, because that's the only place you can do it. Okay, so we've talked about what your profile looks like. So what do you post? Well, when it comes to millennials, authenticity is really important. Because if you start posting things that are gimmicky or self-promoting, it's okay to have a couple of those every now and then. Like we have a great special, big event coming up, but getting to the core of who you are and what you can do for them is really important. So, leave your ads for Facebook. Now, there are ways to have paid advertisements on Instagram. And basically what that means is, if I don't follow, let's say Summit Leadership Foundation has an Instagram, and I live in Johnson City and I've never heard of Summit Leadership Foundation, but I am all the time on Instagram and I'm scrolling through, I see a post from Summit Leadership Foundation, but I don't follow them. You can have posts that are paid for Instagram, but it's kind of new. So there's not a lot of those on my Instagram feed. I see maybe one paid advertisement per day, but it looks just like a post. You can't really tell the difference. So with that in mind, I'm going to be focusing on if you're not paying. You just create a business account, here's what I'm posting, yeah? Okay, because paid ones are a lot different, and I'm only going to focus on ones you're not paying for. Okay. So leave your advertisements on Facebook, and then stick to giving your brand the real feel and message that you're trying to convey to your audience. Next thing is tell by showing. So remember back in kindergarten or first grade when it was show and tell day? Basically, if you brought your favorite stuffed animal, you didn't really have to say a whole lot about it. It kind of spoke for itself. This is my favorite stuffed animal. Because you had it there to show. See, Facebook, you can tell all you want about it, and you don't have to have a picture and people will still see it. With Instagram, the picture is the focus. So if you have a picture that's good enough, your caption doesn't have to be that long or that information filled, because people are going to get the idea just from the picture. Don't let your caption take away from your image. So I have this thing, it's kind of like my signature picture for Instagram, and I always take a picture like of my feet. So like if it's a fall day and I have on boots, then like that's what I take a picture of, because it kind of captures what I'm doing that day and what my morning's been like, whatever. But my caption is always something like, did anybody see the blog that I wrote for Business Success Forum? It's basically talking about what I'm talking about now.
Wait, there's a Business Success Forum blog?
There is. I'll tell you all that. Oh, okay. There's one on Facebook. We have a Facebook page. It's Business Success Forum. There's a Twitter. There's not an Instagram. But there is a website that has a blog. So basically, each presenter will write a blog, and then you can read it. But my blog gave a little preview. And in that blog, I was talking about that there's this picture of me. Actually, is there any way we can pull it up? I don't know. Just the picture is what I need. That's in the blog.
I get you online.
Yeah, that's good.
You can go to the successforum.net and then go to the blog, and then the blog should be able to be pulled up.
So it was a Friday morning at Higher Digital, and I had on rain boots and a raincoat because it was gross outside. And Ronta, another one of our team members, had brought cookies. And it was first thing in the morning, and I didn't eat breakfast. And they'd just been talking about how it's better to eat something unhealthy for breakfast than nothing at all. And I was like, okay, cookie it is. So I'm like really excited about this awesome cookie. And I thought that it was picture worthy for Instagram. So I take my signature picture. I'm holding this cookie, you can see my rain boots, and I'm like contorting myself like just to get this like perfect little angle. Well, if you look at this picture, so my caption was basically,
Click on the blog at the top.
instead of saying it's a rainy Friday and I'm eating a cookie for breakfast because it's better to eat something unhealthy than nothing at all I said was Fridays are best paired with cookies and rain boots. That was it. There it is. Okay, so here is my picture. Can you all see that? It's really far away.
I guess that's gonna.
Scroll down a little. Okay, so there's my picture. And I just told you my caption. Well, Kate, our other team member, wanted to share her experience that morning, which was not the cookie and rain boots. It was instead me taking the picture. So I thought that my cookie and rain boot was an awesome thing to share, while Kate thought that it was more interesting to share a picture of me trying to get that picture because it was actually quite funny. So, long story short, make sure that your picture speaks for itself. Yeah? Okay, moving on. Now, how do we get back to the... And keep that picture in mind for my next point. So your Facebook is kind of like the fancy formal face of your company. That is this is who we are, here's where you can get information, here's what we're doing now, and here's our partners. Twitter is kind of the same thing, but it's little tidbits that you give constantly. Instagram is the less formal, emoji-filled, fun pictures, attractive face for millennials. Now, exclusive peeks. So I follow a boutique. In case you haven't noticed a trend, I enjoy following clothing things on Instagram. So I follow this boutique, and a lot of times they'll post pictures of their models and clothing. It's fine, they're a boutique, that's what they're trying to sell, and that they don't really have a whole lot else to post. But about once every 3 days, they will take a video or post a picture of their new shipment of clothing. If I see something that's like glitter that they haven't posted yet, I'll literally be stalking their Instagram waiting on them to post what that outfit was. So like one time they posted it and it was just this rack of like all this glitter dress. And all I could tell was that there was like a lot of glitter going on, but I didn't know what it was. So like I waited for like 3 days, and then they posted a picture of one of their models in that dress. So it kind of gives that like, wait for it feel, or like that picture that Kate took behind the scenes. So she actually posted that onto Hyro Digital, and people engaged with it because they thought it was funny, just because it wasn't a, this is what we're doing this morning, this is what our next project is, this is me at my computer. It was a, look at this funny thing that happened at our office this morning. Behind the scenes is going to be awesome because it gives millennials that little I'm special feel. Remember when I talked about how they're self-centered? That behind the scenes peek is going to give them that little, Facebook followers don't see this, Twitter followers don't see this, I know what's going on behind the scenes. And that'll give them more incentive to follow you too. So I came across this issue of, well, that's great and all, but I don't have a product that I'm selling. Problem for a picture-based website. You've got salons that can take pictures of their clients' hair before and after. You've got boutiques that can show their clothing. So what do you do if you don't actually have something to sell that's like tangible? Well, I thought that Capital One would be a good example of their campaign. So let's read their bio first. Roots in Virginia, ready to take on the world. What's in your wallet? Same thing as Starbucks. Simple, clever, catchy. We look at their post, and I just pulled up their most recent one, and it said venture #MyRewardDay, Jacqueline G, Maui, Hawaii. So it captures the experience, because studies show that millennials are more likely to spend money on an experience over an item. And I thought that was interesting, because you think that the all about me generation would be materialistic, but it's actually not true, because we put our money in things that we can experience. And that's why Instagram is so unique, because you can show the experience without necessarily having to tell it. Like they said, if I was looking at this picture and I try to think of a caption, something along the lines of ziplining is fun, zippity-doo-dah, something like that. But then I look at theirs. The sky's the limit with venture. Just ask cardholder Jacqueline, who used her miles to soar over Maui. Perfectly supplements that picture without taking away from it. So focus on experiences if you don't necessarily have a product, because that's actually what millennials like anyway. And if you do have a product, focus on experiences with that product. So let's say one of the boutiques I follow, they do, for instance, girls' night out outfit. And then they show a picture of her with her friends. Or date night outfit. And they show a picture of her at a little restaurant. So they show the experience with their product. Because ultimately, that's what millennials are paying for, is the experience. Okay, so engagement is going to be key. Getting people to engage with this post is actually not that difficult, because That's something fun, it's something catchy, it's something creative. It's something that they want to be a part of. They want the sky to be their limit too. So that's going to get them to engage with Capital One. Okay. So for those of us who do not have an Instagram, I'm actually going to walk you through how to set up a profile and what all that means. And then for those of us who do, I'm going to help you make your profile just a little bit more catchy for millennials. So you download the Instagram app, and I'm an Apple girl, always have been, always will be. So I don't know how it differs across Android, but it shouldn't be that different. But if you want to follow along, I'm going to create an account. Or if there's anyone who wants me to create an account, I will do it for you. Okay, so we have, this is our opening screen. Whoops. And it'll either give you the option to enter your email or log in with Facebook. Really, Facebook's going to be your easiest option unless you're not connected with your business, in which case, then you would need to go ahead and use your email. So I'm going to, here's an important time to talk about your username. Username should reflect your business and should be consistent across all of your social media platforms. So if your username is Summit Leadership on Twitter, then it should be Summit Leadership on Instagram or something close if that name is already taken. Make it as close as possible, because what you can do, okay, so here, this is Capital One's username. It's Capital One, all one word. You have a username and then you have your name. So whatever your username is, this is actually the name of the company. So like for instance, my username is Drea Blake. It's the end of my first name and my middle name. My name on Instagram is Alexandria Quillen. That way, if people know me as Alex, they can search me that way, or if people know my username, they can find me that way. Ideally, you want them to be as close to each other as possible. So Capital One and Capital One, they nailed it. Make sense? Okay, so let's set up our Instagram. Okay, and now, is it prompting you to follow people? I just logged into mine, so. Does everybody have an Instagram? Okay, so then I'm going to go to my profile. Here is where you can change all of those wonderful things I was telling you about. So what I'm going to do is go to this little settings thing in the top corner. And that will give me the option to edit my profile, change my password, or make my account private. For business, you do not want your account to be set on private, because that means that it basically turns a person following you into a friend request. So let's say Kent asked to follow me, and I don't like Kent or I don't know Kent. I can tell him no because my account's private, and then he can't see what I post. But if your account's public, it just lets people follow you. Following? Okay. So my account is private, but if your business, you don't want it to be private because you don't want to have to okay every single person. Okay, so it gives you the option to link account. So if you want, you can make everything you post on Instagram post to Facebook. You can't do it the other way around, but Instagram will post to Facebook and Twitter if you want it to. Okay, let's talk about editing your profile. So here is where you have the chance to edit your name. And you say, my name is Summit Leadership Foundation. 3 words, that's the full name. So that is what appears here. I go to make my username in the beginning, and Summit Leadership 1-2 is the only option that I could have. So that's going to show up here. So if people tag you in something, you know, on Facebook, you just click it, you put the little @ symbol, and it gives you like options of people to tag. It's the same way with Instagram, only you have to tag with the username. So if someone tags you, they're going to be using that username. Okay. I'll show you your username right here, and you can actually go back and change it. Profile picture, I'm a believer that your profile picture should be the same across all social media accounts. That way, if someone follows you on Facebook and Twitter, they know it's you on Instagram. Because sometimes you'll run into having the same or similar name as other companies, and if you have that similarity across your accounts, people know it's you. Here is where you put your website link. It says website. That's where you can change the link that you send people to. So this place right here, blue, it's always going to be at the bottom. That's where you put, we are summitleadershipfoundation.com.org, whatever you are, I don't know. And that's where you put that if that's where you want people to go. Your bio goes right here, short and sweet. So mine is, hire a digital marketing consultant. Little things in life make me happy. Semper Fi. Suitable for Veterans Day. And then you can put private information, which that's just going to link to your email account if you want it to, like work email. Okay. And that is setting up an account. So now we're going to post. There's all kinds of fun things you can do when you post. Let's see. Okay, so let's say I want to post a picture. There's a little camera at the bottom. And let's say I want to post the last picture I took, which is this adorable little puppy saying we're this close to it being Friday. So I say, okay, yeah, he's good. If I want to post something different, I just pull up right there, and it'll show all the different pictures in my camera roll. In order to post, it does have to be on your camera roll. So whether that means screenshotting or pulling from a different account, whatever you have to do, it's got to be saved in your camera roll. So that's what I want to post. So pull him up, and I hit next. Then it gives me all these wonderful options. These are called filters. And if you look at different accounts, really professional accounts don't have a lot of obvious filters, but sometimes it is fun to kind of mess with them, because if I scroll through these on the bottom, see how it's changing its color? These can be really useful for things like scenery, landscapes, selfies if you want to. Posted a company selfie and edited it a little so it looked a little more refreshed. But there's a lot of options. You can manipulate the saturation, the brightness, all that can be manipulated there. Okay, looks cute. We're good. We're going to post. Go to next. This is where you write your caption. Hashtags can be used in captions, and they will work. So assuming we know what a hashtag is, you can use them in your post. So for High Road Digital, we often use hashtag Take the High Road. So that's often like a hashtag that we use. It's kind of like our signature hashtag. If you don't have one, that's okay. But like this one, they said My Reward Day. So that's what they put on pictures that look like that. Tag people. This is where you say, okay, I was with so-and-so. Sometimes they'll tag their models on those boutiques I follow. Sometimes if she's wearing a skirt from a particular company, she'll tag that company in her picture. So that way you know exactly who's what you're doing, that kind of thing. It's okay to tag like your partners. So if Summit Leadership Foundation is working with High Road, she could tag High Road Digital in a picture of, I don't know, her notebook this morning, okay? So you just tap to tag, and then you use the @ symbol to find people. Actually, I don't even think you have to anymore. You used to have to. So if I wanted to tag, let's do, are you? I don't follow you. We'll do, I'll tag myself, which you don't normally do, but I don't want anybody to be tagged this morning. So you just tap where you want to tag and then type their name. You can add a location if you wanted to kind of check in. You can check in, but it has to be fairly close to where you are. So if I wanted to check in at Summit Leadership, then it should bring up, let's see. You might have to turn on. Okay, it's not working right now, but you can check in places. And then people can like click on that and see other people who have posted from that same location, assuming your account's public. You can choose if you want to post to Facebook, Twitter, Tumblr, Flickr, Swarm. I don't even know what Swarm is. And then you share. And that's all. So Instagram is not all that difficult, but it's super important when it comes to marketing to millennials, because that's where they are and that's where you're going to get the most engagement. Because at the end of the day, people are talking about you and your brand. The question is, are you going to join that conversation by being on social media with them? Advertisement, you talk at them. But with social media, you can actually talk with them. The question is, will you talk with them? Thanks. Yeah.
Is there something good that will spread Instagram, Twitter, like a Hootsuite or something like that? Or will Instagram spread to some of the other social media sites, or is there a way to connect it so it works?
Okay, so you can either do it on each post, and you can say, okay, I want this to go to Facebook and Twitter, but that's it. Okay, so you can check on your post if
Through
you.
Instagram?
So like if we go back to the point where I was posting, and we say right here, this is like kind of the final thing of posting. You say, okay, I want it to go to Facebook, I want it to go to Twitter, and like mine's not linked, but you can link it, and it's simple. It's in your settings. But the social dashboard that we use at High Road does not actually account for Instagram yet, which is kind of frustrating. So we have to go in and manually post every account to Instagram. But there are a couple out there that I've not had time to explore, so I couldn't really recommend one to you as far as like pre-scheduling goes. But yeah, it's really easy to share across.
Sweet, we'll do it.
Will it?
You can get the app for your phone and do it.
Okay.
The thing that I've noticed is that like if I wanted to post a picture on Facebook, I can't link that to Instagram from my Facebook. Does that make sense? Instagram will link.
Okay.
Yeah. Anything else?
Alex, if you would, I know you talked a little bit about the demographics and the user of Instagram, this millennial crowd. And of course, we know that Instagram's the fastest growing social network, maybe not the most popular, but
It's got 300 million users worldwide.
100 million users.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think, like you say, it's important to recognize that these are the early adopters of the social media, just like Facebook used to be 2 years ago, and that's why we need to keep this on our radar.
The thing is, the digital world is ever changing, and where Facebook used to be the #1 turned into Twitter, now Instagram is slowly becoming that. So if you're losing touch with people in the digital world, then definitely get back in with that, because that's where people are, and it's the simplest way to communicate back and forth with those users of your brand. And it's the easiest way to get them to actually interact with your brand.
So, I have multiple friends who on Instagram will hashtag like 48 things. So I'm reading this one from Long-Time Yoga Knoxville. It says, Knox rocks, Knoxville yoga, yoga Knox, fit Knox, where's Waldo, find yourself, kids yoga, kids love yoga, get your yoga on, Old City Knoxville, Old North Knox, Knoxify, downtown North, yoga privates.
Okay, yeah. So
How much
personally,
are we supposed to be doing?
that drives me nuts, because I feel like it's unnecessary. But what happens is, let's say that you are in North Knoxville and you search the hashtag North Knox because you want to know what all's going on, who all's here, where they're eating, what they're doing, what they're seeing, and you search that hashtag, if you come across their page, you can easily see what that page, Downtown Yoga Knoxville, and you see that post. If it's cool enough for you to click on, you'll click on their page and see what else they're posting. And you'll probably gain followers from that. So,
And what about tagging people? Like, should I tag 48 people?
okay, so
I have another friend that does that.
the idea with hashtags first is that the more you hashtag, the more chance you have for people to see that post. I think it kind of looks ridiculous at the bottom of the post to have nothing but a stream of hashtags. And bigger companies don't do that. So I like to model myself after them when it comes to posting to social media. But if you're really trying to gain those followers, especially in that area, then it's not a bad idea, but I would keep it to bare minimum. Like no more than 4.
Okay.
Yeah. And what you can do is say, hashtag North Knox, doing hashtag yoga, and hashtag finding my Waldo, period. Hashtag find yourself, whatever you want it to do, but like put it in the sentence. Does that make sense? Instead of having just like a cluster of them at the end, work some of them into that. Yeah? The other thing with tagging people, I don't get it unless they're actually in the picture. Otherwise, it comes across as really spammy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else? Nothing? We good? Good luck with your Instagram endeavors. And then if you want to connect with me, I am Drea Blake, DRIA_Blake. And again, people don't know what that is. My name is Alexandria, so it's the end of my first name and my middle name. And then also you can find me by Alex Gillenwater. And my account is private, so I will have to okay you. And then here I am on LinkedIn. Oh, thank you.